What degree did you complete at Hancock, and what is your current position?
I completed an Associate in Arts in Liberal Arts at Hancock. Then I transferred to Cal Poly and obtained my bachelor's and my master's in counseling.
And what is your current position?
Right now, I am the non-credit counselor.
And what was your most memorable experience as a student at Hancock where you felt directed and valued?
Probably working as a student worker in the counseling department. I felt like the counselors there and the support staff were very nice and helpful and always willing to work around my schedule. And also the instructors. I felt like the instructors really cared about us as a student and really cared about their subject that they were teaching.
And what do you enjoy about working at Hancock?
I like working with my colleagues. I like the environment. It's a beautiful campus, but most definitely working with the students. I like working with the most disadvantaged students and parents because in on-credit we work with both. And so I love that I get the opportunity to help them out, and also I'm there to support them throughout their educational journey.
And how does your work change the odds for students?
Just like counseling changed the odds for me when I met with my counselors and with other colleagues that motivated me to pursue my master's degree, I feel like now I have the opportunity to do that for the students. I am that person that they can come for support, to refer them to other support services on campus, to help them with their educational goals like tutoring, financial aid, or the math center, but also with counseling, talking to them about what is going on in their life right now and how I can assist them overcome those obstacles and lessen their barriers.
And when did you first think about or realize you wanted to work at Hancock?
When I was working as a student worker, I worked in a couple of different areas, EOPS, non-credit, admissions, counseling, and I got to see what the environment was like and the faculty and the staff. And so when I obtained my degree, I had a couple of other jobs in the private setting and in other educational settings. And I realized that I really missed Hancock. I missed my colleagues, I missed the staff, I missed the students, and I really, really missed what college offers to students and what a great impact it can have on a student. They can get an associate degree, they can get a certificate, they can transfer to the university. And it was just knowing what a powerful institution community colleges are that can really help a student spring forward to their next step.
And what do you think about the fact that you earned a degree from Hancock and returned a few years later to work here?
I think it's great. I think it really is start here, go anywhere. And my anywhere, I did go other places and I could have gone to others, but I realized that this was home. I realized that this is where I loved working. I love the students. I love just being here. I don't know what else to say.
That's good.
Say it again. Sorry.
What do you think about the fact that you earned a degree from Hancock and returned a few years later to work here?
I think that it really follows the motto, start here, go anywhere. I went other places and I came back here, and this was my anywhere. I love Allen Hancock College, what it stands for. I love the mission. I love the students. I can see the administration, the faculty, and the staff that really, really are here for the students. And we all work together to make it happen. And so I want to be part of that.
Action.
What degree did you complete at AHC?
In 2003, I received an associate's degree in liberal studies.
What was your most memorable experience as a student at AHC where you felt directed and valued?
I'm not sure that it was one experience, but it was the fact that every staff member I met, whether they were an instructor in the class, a coworker, the cashier, every last one of them just sort of emanated a feeling of you can do this, which is a contagious feeling. So you see that enough, you begin to believe it.
What do you enjoy about working at AHC?
Well, I work in the Learning Assistance Program, so this department kind of by its nature is student-focused and student-driven. And I think that being able, we have a whole team of people that want to make the odds change for our students, that want to make sure any barriers they have aren't a barrier, aren't a problem for them when they're facing challenges. So I kind of enjoy being now that staff person that gets to make a student feel like you can do this.
How does your work change the odd for students?
Well, my grandmother was deaf, and I'm the interpreter coordinator here at the college, so I work with deaf and hard of hearing students. And my grandmother was deaf, and most of my family growing up was. And when she was a girl, she was pulled out of school after the 3rd grade and said, "You don't need any more education because you're deaf and you're a girl." I want to make sure no students have that happen to them. I don't want any challenge that they have, whether they're deaf, if they have another disability, if they're a non-traditional student. I don't want that challenge to become a barrier for those students. And I enjoy being able to make that barrier disappear.
When did you first think about or realize you wanted to work at AHC?
Sorry. Well, I was a non-traditional student. I was a mom to a young daughter at the time. I had been out of school for 10 years. I was the first in my family to go to school, and I worked full-time outside of the home. So I kind of felt like, add college to that, not going to be happening for me to be able to do classes. But when I started working here, over the first couple of years that I was here, I started to see that the culture of Hancock College made it work for students like me, that they valued non-traditional students, that they had programs and services that meant that we could make it happen. And so I just decided to give it a shot.
And what do you think about the fact that you earned a degree from AHC and returned a few years later to WorkHere?
Well, I think coming as a non-traditional student and having that feeling at first of, can I do this, change to, yes, I can do this over a few different experiences, helps me to get it when I have a student, whether they're deaf or have another challenge. When they're overwhelmed, when they're frustrated, when they're ready to give up, I get it. So I can help them realize that they can make it happen too.
What you want to do is look at her. I'm not here. Okay. Okay, just look at her while you're answering, okay? Okay, stand by. We're rolling. Go ahead.
What degree did you complete at AHC?
The degrees that I earned at Allen Hancock College were in liberal arts, welding technology, and machine technology. The reason why I did the welding technology is because there was a need for me to earn some money while I went to school.
What was your most memorable experience as a student at AHC where you felt directed and valued?
When I first started taking classes at Allen Hancock College, my predecessor, Ray Bell Snowden, was my instructor. He inspired me. I wanted to bring in my uncle, who had studied in another country, and I asked Mr. Snowden, and Mr. Snowden said, bring him in here, we're not looking to hold anybody back. So that kind of gave me the initiative, that gave me a little bit of wanting to take other courses. And so that led me to pursue my liberal arts degree.
What do you enjoy about working at AHC?
What I enjoy most about working at Allen Hancock College is the satisfaction when you impact somebody's life, when you're able to help them. That's rewarding it in itself. It is a career, and I appreciate it as a career, but the self-satisfaction that you get from helping somebody else, that's what motivates me.
How does your work change the odds for students?
So you can see our students coming in here with not a whole lot of skills or job skills, and they learn a way to make a living, to put food on the table, and that's what it did for me. That was my need, and I'm glad to pay back and pay it forward.
When did you first think about or realize you wanted to work at Hancock?
The first time I was offered an opportunity to work at Hancock, I passed it up because my work schedule didn't fit. The opportunity presented once more about a year later, and I told my boss, I basically told him, I really want to work at Hancock. I told him if this job doesn't work for me and working at Hancock, I'm going to have to make a change. And he was really willing to work with me, and so that gave me the opportunity to start as a part-time instructor here at Hancock, but I really wanted to work here.
And what do you think about the fact that you earned a degree from Hancock and returned a few years later to start working here?
I think it was awesome. It's been a great change for me. I loved working in the industry. Working for Hancock is a little bit different because you deal with so many people, but you get that satisfaction of helping each one of those students. You get to help them achieve their goals.
What degree did you complete at AHC?
The degrees that I earned at Hancock were a liberal arts degree, a welding technology degree, and a machining technology degree.
What was your most memorable experience as a student at AHC where you felt directed and valued?
So my most memorable experience as a student while attending Allen Hancock College was when I was a student in a welding class with Mr. Snowden. I wanted to help another student who spoke a different language, and Mr. Snowden made it very clear to me when he told me that we weren't looking to hold anybody back, and that inspired me to take other classes at in other programs at Hancock.
What do you enjoy about working at AHC?
The satisfaction of knowing that you help somebody and you can see it in a few semesters. You can see the person landing a job, making a decent living, so you can see the results fairly fast.
How does your work change the odds for students?
You can see them coming in with not a whole lot of skills. Sometimes in less than 2 years, they're able to land a job. Sometimes I had a situation where a student was homeschooled and his mother was concerned about his safety. I showed him how safe the classes ran, and in a year and a half, he had to tell me he had to quit school because he landed a job. And so I told him I was really proud of him. He's got a good job, and he's got a bright future.
When did you first think about or realize you wanted to work at AHC?
So the first time I was approached with a job opportunity and I turned it down. After having second thoughts about it, about a year later, the opportunity presented itself again, and I made every effort to come in here and become a welding instructor.
What do you think about the fact that you earned a degree from AHC and returned a few years later to work here?
So I love that fact because we can show our students what is possible. Not only can you become an industry professional, if you earn your degree, you can come back and help out the program. And so I always tell my students, in a few years, I think we're not going to have a hard time finding welding instructors.
What degree did you complete at Hancock, and what is your current position?
I received an associate in arts and business, and my current position is director admissions and records.
And what was your most memorable experience as a student at Hancock where you felt directed and valued?
My most memorable experience involved a math instructor who I thought was a coach first and a math instructor second, and he proved me wrong because he told us if we had any problems we could go meet with him and he would help us with our math problem. And so the only time I could find him was during basketball practice, and I went there to schedule a meeting with him, and he actually walked off the court and left the class with the assistant coaches and helped me for 30 minutes understand a foundation of math that helped me pass the class.
And what do you enjoy about working at Hancock?
I like helping students. That's my favorite thing to do. I can't always help them in the manner in which they think I should be helping them, but I can offer them guidance and give them solutions to their problems.
And how does your work change the odds for students?
My work directly affects their grades, their records, their transcripts, anything to do with their academic history. And at times, students have needs that arise which cause them not to be very successful in a semester, and I can help guide them through that process of how they can change grades, request grade withdrawal based on certain criteria.
What do you enjoy about working at Hancock?
I enjoy helping students. I've worked here for a really long time and I've seen how people have evolved over the years, but the one thing that stays constant is that students need us.
And when did you first think about or realize you wanted to work at Hancock?
It was not a conscious decision. Many years ago, a friend of mine called and said, "Hey, we need registration workers to come and help us. Would you like to work?" And I said, okay. I needed a job. That's all it was to me at that time. And after working those 2 weeks, the director of admissions asked me if I would like to be hired as a student worker. And because I needed a job, I said yes. Well, a year later, a position came open in the office, and it was an entry-level position, but I thought that I could do the job, and I interviewed for the job, and I got it. So I had a job, not a career. But over time, I realized I loved working here, and who would know, 30 years later, I never looked back. I love working here.
And what do you think about the fact that you earned a degree from Hancock and returned a few years later to work here?
I actually earned my degree while I was working here, and Hancock gave me the opportunity to do that. So I went to school part-time and worked full-time. And Hancock is a great place for students to come in our community. If you live in our district or outside of our district, we have an open policy, and we have wonderful instructors and great student services staff that help students get through their goal of graduating and building a career.
Thank you. What was your most memorable experience as a student at Hancock where you felt directed and valued?
When I started Hancock College right out of high school, I wasn't very directed and I dropped out. And a year later, when I came back, I was struggling with math. I had struggled with math all through school. And my math instructor, I believed, was a math instructor second and a basketball coach first. But he did tell us if we ever had any need and needed his help, remember this was before the math lab, that we could find him and he would help us with math. Well, the only place I could find him was during basketball practice, and he walked off the court and left the team in charge of his assistant coaches to help me for 30 minutes to lay the foundation for that math class so that I could pass the class.
What do you enjoy about working at Hancock?
I enjoy helping students. It's very satisfying to know that maybe I can make a difference in someone's life.
Room action.
What degree did you complete at Allen Hancock College?
I received my Associates of Science in Criminal Justice in 2010.
What was your most memorable experience as a student at Allen Hancock College where you felt directed and or valued?
Well, the easy answer for me would be the time that I spent in the Law Enforcement Academy. I was valued by all my fellow recruits. We valued each other, worked with each other as teammates, and I was also directed for a lot of things by our TAC officers, but they also led us down a great path to learning and to become where we're at now.
What do you enjoy about working at Allen Hancock College?
Well, I enjoy my time being able to walk around, interact with the students, the staff, just get to know people, get to know students, where they've come from, where they're going. I've met students from all over the world that have come here to go to school, whether it's sports, whether it's just instruction. Also, my time watching Cameron Artis Payne run through everyone on the football field was pretty enjoyable.
What degree did you complete at Allen Hancock College?
I received my Associate of Science degree in Criminal Justice.
What was your most memorable experience as a student at Allen Hancock College where you felt directed and or valued?
My most memorable moments was when I was in the Law Enforcement Academy. I felt valued by my fellow classmates, my recruits. We were teammates all the way through. We were very directed, push-ups, running, all that fun stuff by our TAC officers, but they also gave us direction into where we should go into law enforcement.
Okay. How does your work change the odds for students? Oh, wait a minute, no, sorry. What do you enjoy about working at Allen Hancock College?
I enjoy being able to walk around and interact with our students, our staff, get to know everyone, provide a safe learning environment, allow them to see cops in a positive light instead of a negative, and also watching Cameron Artis Payne run through people on the football field.
How does your work change the odd for students?
My work provides a safe learning environment for the students and staff. When there's a problem, we're there to help, and we're always treating everyone with respect and trying to figure out solutions to their issues.
When did you first think about or realize you wanted to work at Allen Hancock College?
Well, in the police field in 2010 when I graduated the academy, it wasn't the easiest time to get a job. I graduated the academy May 27th, 2010, and on that day I was told that Hancock College had an opening. I applied. About 6 months later I was hired. Happiest day of my life. And this place has taught me that we're a family here. We're here to help everyone out. We're here to help the students out and grow and watch them blossom into flowers or go get their bachelor's or master's and come back here and work and teach.
What did you think about the fact that you earned a degree from Allen Hancock College and returned a few years later to work here?
Well, it gives me an understanding of what students are going through, that it's not always the easiest times. I've received parking tickets when I was a student here. I get their problem, and I try to educate them prior to those happening. I also am able to build a rapport with the students, knowing that I've gone through what they've gone through, and to be able to push them into something further.
Okay. When did you first think about or realize you wanted to work at AHC?
You know, when I was a student here back in the mid 80s, late 80s, it was a place that I really enjoyed coming to school and learning about, at that time, the fire academy, and that was kind of my goal. I never thought about ever teaching here, but it wasn't until after I took classes from actually people who still teach here, that are my colleagues, that I thought, you know, teaching would be something I might be interested in. Maybe I should look into that a little further. So I took an English class with Marla Allegre, and then took another class with Mike Gista, and then took even more classes after that, and loved English, loved to write, loved to read. And it was at that point I thought, you know, I could see myself at Hancock doing what Marla does. I know that I'm not as good as Marla is, but I try to be as good as Marla is. And I think those experiences of just taking general education classes at Hancock made me feel like I want to be a part of the college life. And what better place to do it than Hancock College?
What do you think about the fact that you earned a degree from AHC and returned years later to work here?
It's, I thought it was unusual, but it's not as unusual as I expected. I actually have met a lot of people here on campus who were former students of Hancock College, including faculty members, so I know I'm not entirely unique about that. But I'm very proud to be a part of the Hancock community. I thank my parents for giving me the ability to go to college and earn my degrees and return here to Santa Maria after years in Sacramento, earning my bachelor's and master's degree. To come back and teach at Hancock College was a dream come true for me. I've spent of my life, of my 47 years on earth to this day, over 30 of them have been at Hancock College as either a student or a faculty member. And so the college is very, very important to me for professional and personal reasons. I've seen the college grow from very small, outdated facilities back in the mid-'80s until now we have a beautiful campus that really goes out of its way to serve students. I'm very, very proud to work here.
What was your most memorable experience as a student at AHC where you felt directed and or valued?
Well, a couple of things. I had a counselor named Mr. McCutcheon, and when I first started at Hancock, I told him I would like to go to Cal Poly, so he made sure I had a list of classes to take that would transfer to Cal Poly. So I didn't waste my time taking classes that weren't going to transfer. I also was able to play a sport. I played baseball at Hancock, and I was very encouraged by the coach to keep my grades up and make sure that I stayed eligible. And thirdly, I had a math teacher, and the math teacher encouraged me to continue on with my math education, even though I wasn't the best of math students at the time.
Okay.
What do you enjoy about working at AHC?
I think the one thing I enjoy the most are the people. The students are serious that are here. They're trying to learn. They ask questions. They come to class. I also like working with the people that are here as far as the other instructors. We get along together well. We try to help each other out. so that I enjoy the staff at Hancock College.
How does your work change the odds for students?
Well, I've taught junior high school for many years, and after doing so, I applied to Hancock College to work part-time. And I believe I picked up some things along the way that make my math teaching a little more interesting, a little more engaging, but it was through an effort of trial and error. And I'm still trying to polish the things that I do to try to make it more lively for students to be engaged.
When did you first think about or realize you wanted to work at AHC?
I got out of Cal Poly back in 1975. I taught a couple of years and I realized I wasn't using my higher level math class or my higher level math skills, so I decided to take a class at Hancock. I took a calculus class over from Miss Wong, and she was very inspiring, and I thought at that point, why not try to apply for a part-time job at Hancock? And I did at the time, and a year later, I was hired.
What do you think about the fact that you earned a degree from AHC and returned a few years later to WorkHere?
It's kind of been an interesting road. I remember taking classes here a lot of times when I walk onto the campus, and I still see some of the same instructors that were here when I was back in school back in the 1970s. So that's kind of memorable. I saw the baseball field for many years until they moved it across the street. It was the same field I played on when I was here. And also, my 4 children have all gone to Hancock College along the way.
What degree did you complete at AHC?
My degree here at Allen Hancock College is in maintenance machining. I also continued my education and got a certificate in supervisory management through the business department.
What was your most memorable experience as a student at AHC where you felt directed and or valued?
Well, with my degree, it was actually phasing out when I was taking it. So there were a few courses that were hard to come by, hydraulics and principles of electricity. I met with the dean, who at the time was Dr. Ray Hobson, and he worked with me to allow the principles of electricity class go forward. It did have low enrollment, but he was able to let that one go. The hydraulics class was a little bit more of a challenge, but he created a independent study course, and I was able to take that course, and it allowed me to achieve my degree as well as others.
What do you enjoy about working at AHC? What do you enjoy about working at AHC?
Well, I'm a native of Santa Maria. I was born and raised here. Allen Hancock College has a huge part in the history here in Santa Maria. My father actually worked here at the college at the flying school prior to going into the service for World War II. There's been a lot of graduates from my family, and I've seen a lot of graduates from the community that have succeeded by taking courses here at the college. It's a great way to find a career and develop that career. I take a lot of pride in working here at Allen Hancock College. I appreciate the opportunities it's given me for a future and the opportunities it gives the community. Advancing their future is very attainable.
How does your work change the odds for students?
My job here at the college is I'm a maintenance supervisor. My responsibility is to maintain a safe, comfortable, and accessible environment for the staff and students here at the college. The department I work in works very hard to help make the students and staff time here comfortable and efficient.
When did you first think about or realize you wanted to work at AHC?
Well, I started working in construction with my dad in 1975 after I graduated from high school. I got my contractor's license in 1990. Through that time period, I saw a lot of good times and really difficult times. So I wanted something that was a little more stable career and stable job. So an opportunity opened up here at the college. I applied for it and was able to start working here at the college. I do hold Hancock in high regard, and I'm very happy to be here and be part of the family.
What do you think about the fact that you earned a degree from AHC and returned a few years later to work here?
Well, I actually started taking classes before I started working here at the college, and some of the classes I took, I looked at some of the job applications or descriptions for positions I was interested in, and a lot of those required welding skills. So I started taking welding classes and became a certified welder. Once I did start working here at the college, I wanted to advance my career. I started working here as a maintenance worker 3. I advanced to a carpenter and then moved on to a supervisor, and I've been the supervisor now for 7 years. The coursework I completed here at the college allowed me to advance my career and be where I'm at today.
What degree did you complete at AHC?
I got my degree in liberal arts, an associate's degree. I got it back in 1990.
What was your most memorable experience as a student at AHC where you felt directed and or valued?
Well, I can say I can recall when Coach Paul Howard at that time, he was coaching the women's team, and he actually, more so than befriended me, he became a mentor for me. He was a previous Division I level coach. He really believed in my ability and the things that I could do, and he took it upon himself to guide me, help me, give me some support, and he's still one of my main mentors today that I speak to on a regular basis. So I value the friendship, and that all started when I was at Hancock as a student athlete.
What do you enjoy about working at AHC?
I think the biggest thing that I enjoy is the ability to work with a lot of student athletes and students in this stage that they are right now. They're in that process of trying to make that transition to adulthood and still in a place where they need help and support. So some of the decisions that they make are not real strong and they need guidance, and the ability to be able to help them and support them is real big for me because I have children myself, and I've done the process where I've been able to help and support them, and to be able to extend this and help the students here at the school where I went to is a way that where I'm able to give back, meet the purpose that God has for me. So I think that that's probably the most beneficial thing for me.
How does your work change the odd for students?
Well, in this environment here, we have a level of minorities and male minorities. And I know in my time when I participated and I went to school here, there was not a lot of male minority teachers, nor is it in the community area through the secondary and middle school levels. They don't have a lot of male African or minority teachers. So in that, I give hope and I help people understand that there's a possibility that they can teach too because they see somebody that looks like them. I've had multiple conversations with students, student athletes that have asked me, Coach, how did you come about doing what you're doing now? Because I would like to do it too. I just don't know how to do it. So it's been a thing that where it has changed, and it's opened up some doors and some opportunities and mindsets for some of the student male athletes that are here in the area.
When did you first think about or realize you wanted to work at AHC?
Well, I was asked to. When I was coaching high school basketball, I was asked to come to Hancock and to coach basketball here. So I took the offer and got into teaching. I'd done some previous teaching too at the high school level, but my main purpose when I came here was to coach, not to teach. But I got into coaching and teaching simultaneously, and I really enjoyed the teaching, so I stayed on as a teacher here. So I think the beginning time, when I first realized it was as I was doing both, and I saw the advantage, how it was really helping a lot of people understand and make decisions and know who they were and figure out the purpose that they had.
What do you think about the fact that you earned a degree from AHC and returned a few years later to work here?
Well, I thought that in coming back, it would put me in a place to where I could give back. That would be the first thing. I've also thought that it would be beneficial for me to be here in this environment because of the ability to advance and to promote and to be in an area that where I could help with the decisions and the processes that affect the community here, because I'm a product of it. And I know what it's like on one side. I want it to be on the other side to where I could help with making decisions, provide resources, give the abilities, give the environment for individuals to use their abilities to be successful. So I'm hoping that as a teacher and instructor with my level of education, that I'll be able to promote, move to a higher level in the administration environment to where I can do more to help the students.
We're going to do the last two questions again. Okay. When did you first think about or realize you wanted to work for AHC?
I was actually asked to come to AHC and to coach. I was coaching high school basketball, and I was actually asked to come and participate and be here as a coach. While coaching, I got into teaching at the college level. I taught at the high school level before, but it's a different dynamic teaching at the college level. So being able to be a part of these young individuals making decisions and choices as they transition to that adult lifestyle was something that I felt was very beneficial, and it gave me an opportunity to give back. So it just intensified my desire to want to be here and teach. So I stayed on as a teacher so that I can continue working in that process. So I would say it originally started when I came and I started as a coach, and then I got into teaching.
What do you think about the fact that you earned a degree from AHC and returned a few years later to work?
Well, it puts me in a place where I believe that I have the opportunity to give back. As a student here, going through the process academically and athletically, there are a lot of things that I believe that I understand that can really help the students as they go through the process now. So my whole concept of doing what I'm doing is it's an opportunity for me to meet the purpose that God has set for me to be able to help individuals and to be able to promote while I'm in this environment, to be able to help with making decisions, provide resources and environments and opportunities for individuals, because I was an individual who participated. Now I want to be one that can help on the other side, knowing both sides and what it takes to be successful and graduate from this institution.
What degree did you complete at Allen Hancock College?
I received my associate's degree in auto body technology.
What was your most memorable experience as a student at Allen Hancock College where you felt directed and valued?
I felt directed and valued when I was a student worker working for my auto body instructor, Dr. Earl James. He was a great mentor, and I learned a lot from him.
What did you enjoy about working at Allen Hancock College?
I enjoy working with such a good, diverse group of faculty where it feels like working with a big family, and you feel supported and valued by all the people that work here, all the way from the faculty, the administration, and the people that work in the support facilities group.
What does your work change the odds for students?
I like.
Take that from the top. Go ahead.
How does your work change the odds for students?
I like to think that my work changes the odds for students by giving them a chance to go out into the collision industry with the chance to get a good paying job, and also gives them the chance to pursue higher education in the field of industrial arts or any other thing that they might want to study after receiving their associate's degree.
When did you first think about or realize you wanted to work at Allen Hancock College?
I would say when I was working as a student worker in the auto body shop with my instructor, Dr. James, and was interacting with the other students and helping them and helping the instructor, was when I really felt that I might want to come back and teach someday.
What do you think about the fact that you earned a degree from Allen Hancock College and returned a few years later to work here?
Well, it was about 20 years later, so it was quite a while later, but it was one of my long-term goals, was to hopefully get the chance to come back and teach someday after I learned what I needed to learn in the trade. And I always joked with my instructor, Dr. James, that someday I would come back and replace him when he was ready to retire. So we always had that kind of a symbiotic relationship and always kept in touch. So I was really honored that I had the chance to come back and teach here.
What degree did you complete at Allen Hancock College?
When I was at Allen Hancock College, I started out taking the auto body classes and some of the mechanical classes and learned how to do collision repair work. And while working with my instructor, Dr. James, and working with Rayvel Snowden and Ron Dominguez and some of the other instructors, I decided that I wanted to go on and receive my associate's degree here. So that's eventually what I ended up getting, was an associate's degree in auto body technology.
What was your most memorable experience as a student at Allen Hancock College where you felt valued and directed?
I felt probably the most valued and directed after I was working in the auto body technology courses with my instructor, Dr. James, and he offered me a position as a student worker. And while I was working as a student worker, I would say that I started interacting more with the students and feeling more involved and getting more responsibilities working as a student aide, student worker. And that's when I really started feeling involved with the college, and that's when I started serving as a ASBG representative for the department, and started getting involved with the Vocational Industrial Clubs of America, and served as a vice president of the state of California's VICA club, and really started participating in the college activities, and felt valued and felt like I belonged here.
What degree did you complete at Hancock, and what is your current position?
I completed an associate degree in liberal studies, and I'm currently the associate superintendent vice president of student services.
What was your most memorable experience as a student at Hancock where you felt directed and valued?
I would have to say my interactions and communication with my counselor were the most valuable. I really felt that I was able to complete my degree with their guidance and leadership.
And what do you enjoy about working at Hancock?
I enjoy supporting students. I think that it's very rewarding to be able to see students from the first day they walk in, not knowing what they're going to do, to the day that they graduate.
And how does your work change the odds for students?
I think that the work that we do collectively, staff, faculty, and administrators, to support students on a regular basis, change the odds for our students.
When did you first think about or realize you wanted to work at Hancock?
I actually came across a job description of a financial aid specialist and counseling assistant, and as soon as I read it, I thought that that was the perfect job for me.
What do you think about the fact that you earned a degree at Hancock and returned a few years later to work here?
Well, you know what, it's not only very rewarding, but it's an honor to be here in this capacity and to be able to give back to my community to support our students.
What degree did you complete at Hancock, and what is your current position?
I completed an associate degree in liberal studies, and I'm currently the associate superintendent vice president of student services.
What was your most memorable experience as a student at Hancock where you felt directed and valued?
I would have to say my interaction with my counselor was very valuable. I felt connected and engaged, and really understood what I needed to do to complete my degree.
And what do you enjoy about working at Hancock?
I think serving students every day and being able to support them with their educational goals by providing the best service possible.
And how does your work change the odds for students?
I think that collectively, faculty, staff, and administrators support students and change the odds on a regular basis. I think that that's our goal and our purpose every day.
And when did you first think about or realize you wanted to work at Hancock?
I read a job description and thought that that was the coolest job ever, and that's really what started.
And what do you think about the fact that you earned a degree from Hancock and returned a few years later to work here?
Well, it's an honor, and it's very rewarding to be able to give back to my community. I feel like, it's great.
What degree did you complete at Hancock, and what is your current position?
I completed an associate degree in liberal studies, and my current position, I'm the associate superintendent vice president of student services.
And what was your most memorable experience as a student at Hancock where you felt directed and valued?
Well, as a student with a child, I felt that Allen Hancock supported me in so many ways. And one area that I really felt supported was from my counselor. I really needed that extra support and understanding what I needed to do to transfer.
What do you enjoy about working at Hancock?
I would say working with students every day, but also being able to update and revise our policies and procedures to make sure that they support student success is very important.
And how does your work change the odds for students?
I think the work that the faculty, staff, and administration do on a daily basis through inside the classroom and outside the classroom really change the odds for our students.
And when did you first think about or realize you wanted to work at Hancock?
Well, I actually stumbled across a job description that was for a counseling assistant and in financial aid, and I read the job and thought that that was the perfect job for me.
And what do you think about the fact that you earned a degree from Hancock and returned a few years later to work here?
You know, this is probably the most rewarding job ever. I am very honored to be here in this capacity to be able to serve not only our students but our community.
You want to look at those?
Sure. Just